Hello, hello, and welcome to the Rock Gut Review. This is our new segment, Between Two Casks. Originally, we were going to call it Between Two Barrels, but it turns out another YouTube channel kind of already stole that. So, it's not as good a name. But I've got a great guest, so that'll make up for it. Everyone say hello to Sam Montgomery!
Hi, everybody!
Yeah! So thank you so much for coming on the show, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Now, for those of our viewers who don't know, who are you?
So I am the National Brand Ambassador for Bardstown Bourbon Company and traveling across the country, which is why I'm able to be here in person.
Yeah. So you're right now you're on a national tour hitting all the states that are selling Bardstown Bourbon whiskey.
Yes, yeah. So we've been on tour since March. Wisconsin is our 7th state that we've visited,
wow.
so we've been staying pretty busy. And we've been in Wisconsin since Wednesday. We'll be doing our last event on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So of all the states you've been in, which is your favorite and why is it Wisconsin?
So that's a really tough question. So we've been to Kentucky and Illinois, Indiana, Texas, Florida, and Tennessee. So all of them have, very different bourbon trends, bourbon communities, and Wisconsin really is I would say my favorite for a couple of reasons. One, it's summertime, and the last time I was here, there was a snowstorm, so that's
we're
great.
famous for that.
I have a lot of family roots in Wisconsin as well, but
nice.
nobody that really lives here anymore, so it's very nostalgic to come here.
Aww.
And the people are just nice. There's a lot of people ready to drink bourbon, and I don't think Wisconsin is one of those states that people think of as like, wow, they drink a lot of bourbon there. You know what I mean? It's like Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, but like Wisconsin is like ready to drink some bourbon.
Oh.
So it's nice to have, a good receptive crowd to talk to.
We are ready to drink anything.
Yeah.
You got to be honest. It is too cold to be sober.
Yeah.
Usually. Right now it's actually blazing hot. But we have a little something here, and I think we should pour this right quick.
Yes, I think we should.
Okay, so what is this we got on the table?
So this is our latest release in our Fusion Series. It's Fusion Series number 5. And with all of our Fusion Series releases, they're all consistently a blend of young bourbon and old bourbon, the young bourbon being ours, and leaning heavy on the bourbon that we produce. So with Series 1 through 4, we've always used 60% of our bourbon, 40% of an older source bourbon. But Series 5 ups the ante, since we are going to be hitting 5 years this September as far as production. Our bourbon's getting a little bit older, and we want to kind of pull back from the sourced in our blends and put a little bit more of our bourbon in there just to maintain that flavor profile. So one of the recipes that we have in this blend is a 4-grain, which we've never blended with before or put into a product of any kind. And I've tasted it straight from the barrel, and even though there's only a little bit in this blend, it comes through a lot. Yeah.
So for those of my viewers who don't necessarily know what makes Bardstown special,
Yes.
what would you say is different about how you make whiskey?
We're very modern. We're very transparent. So something that you can see right off the shelf even before you buy is that right on the side of the label, we give you exactly what's in the bottle. And you'll see a number that notates what release it is. This is 5. And then the chart underneath describes the blend. So all of your mash bills, the age statements, whether we produce it or we source it, and how much of each makes up what's in the bottle is right there on the side of the bottle. So we're very transparent, and the blend itself is very innovative in a way. So blending is very common but not very talked about in bourbon. So even legacy brands like Maker's Mark, who have one recipe, they're blending 383 barrels or whatever it is that wants to create a consistent flavor profile from year to year. The way we blend is a little bit different, certainly done before, but maybe not so much in bourbon, where we're taking 4 different recipes. So each recipe has its own flavor profile, and we can kind of almost Frankenstein our own preferred flavor profile by blending these recipes together. Something you'd see much more in like Scotch than you would in bourbon.
And I was super interested in that 4-grain mash bill. And last Fusion 4, had a very high rye mash bill, I
Yes.
believe, which I thought I was going to prefer.
Yeah.
But actually, this guy is kind of cool. I think I'm liking this guy a little bit more than I liked 4.
I do too, and I typically gravitate towards the spicy bourbons, high rise, but there's something really unique and soft about this. It does drink like a weeded bourbon, but with a little more life.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
I get like an actual like soft body feel, and I get like a really tropical, fruity kind of
It
nose.
is. I was going to say like a tart apple kind of thing. Yeah.
I get more like banana.
Sure.
But something kind of brighter.
Sure. And maybe, is that a benefit of using some younger whiskey? I know everyone's obsessed with an older, age-stated
Yes.
whiskey.
So the reason behind blending young and old bourbon is because anymore people understand that age doesn't always mean it's better. And younger bourbons can have really good flavors up front that are a little bit more delicate. They can contribute a floral aroma or a fruity kind of flavor profile that when you leave them in the barrel for too long, the barrel tends to dominate it and take it over with more aggressive flavors like char and oak and leather and tobacco and things of that nature. So when you blend very contrasting flavor age profiles together, the way we are, you can kind of create a very nuanced flavor profile in a blend.
And now the older whiskey that you're blending in is from another producer. I'm sure non-disclosure agreements being what they are, you probably can't tell us. But corn 75%, rye 13%, 12% malted barley. Does it rhyme with biled jerky?
I will neither confirm nor deny that, but I will say that you clearly know your stuff. And for anybody that has Caesar bottles out there and wants to know, what I can do, which does not break a non-disclosure agreement, is I can lead you straight to the best source. If you Google bourbon mash bills, your first or second search result is going to be modernthirst.com, and it's a single page on their website that has a list of every distillery and all their mash bills. So kind of a one-stop shop to figure out what we're
And
blending.
I know my viewers are a bunch of nerds who are definitely going to want to check that out. So, Fusion 5 out in stores right now. I believe there's a new discovery coming out in just a little while as well.
Yes, and people are already going crazy, hitting the DMs on the company page and to every person possible about Discovery. It certainly, with the holiday season last year, the secret is out that Discovery is a phenomenal bourbon, and really priced pretty phenomenally for its age statements and its the way it drinks and the awards that it's receiving. The problem with Discovery is that it's a blend of all aged source product. And the market for aged source bourbon is almost non-existent anymore. So we're very fortunate with, the people that work for our team. We have a lot of connections, people that have worked in the industry a long time. I don't want to say we have it easier than most as far as getting our hands on source bourbon, but we do have some good relationships. So Discovery is still going to be very allocated, and honestly, it's probably going to get harder and harder to get as people realize, what it is, how good it is, and as we open up more states, right? Because we're not really getting a whole lot more production, but we are opening up more markets. So my advice to you is the best way to find Discovery 5. I will tell you that it's in warehouses now. It'll start going on the shelves within the next 2 to 3 weeks if it's in your market, if it's in your state. And the best thing you can do is become friends with your liquor store owners and employees because they know when this stuff is coming in, and a lot of them won't do wait lists or anything like that, which I kind of respect. But they can let you know when it's coming in. And if you're a bourbon nerd, which I guess most of you are if you're watching this.
I would assume. They're not coming for my pretty face, I'll tell you that much.
You know what? It wouldn't hurt to, bake a few cookies or cook a brisket. You know what I mean? Like, everybody thinks they're best friends with their liquor store owner, but what are you really doing for them?
That's true. That's true. I do love a good brisket.
Oh, there you go. Solution.
Yes, absolutely. So, let's talk a little bit about the tour you're on right now.
Yes.
You're going from liquor store to bar to bar.
Yeah.
With this trailer.
Yes.
What can people expect in the Bardstown mobile experience?
Well, they can expect it to look a lot like our distillery. If you've been out to our distillery, it's very much the same design, same kind of theme, concept. It looks like a tiny home, but it's just a tiny home for Bardstown Bourbon. So we are pouring samples from the trailer. We will be at festivals later in the year. We'll be making cocktails, and we're handing out lots of free merch, T-shirts, fanny packs for the festivals, everything that you could want to be branded in bourbon, and just having a great time, meeting folks, telling folks about who we are, what we do, and what Bardstown is as a community, right? Because a lot of people are still very unaware of the fact that Bardstown is the bourbon capital of the world.
Sure.
Just regardless of Bardstown Bourbon Company, right? So we're trying to put that back on the map too. And Kentucky Bourbon Festival rebooting this year, we're really excited about. So there's lots of good news to spread all the time, and we've got the means to tell everybody about it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, after you leave Wauwatosa and Ray's Wine and Spirits, the best liquor store ever, where are you headed next on the tour?
So we'll be in Wisconsin until Monday. I'm not sure when you're going to air this episode.
I'm going to try to get out Monday.
Okay. So after Wisconsin, we'll take a couple weeks off, and then we're going to head to the East Coast, starting with New York over the 4th of July.
Cool.
So we'll be there the 1st through the 4th. And then we're just going to kind of trickle down the coast and hit Maryland and D.C. and the Carolinas eventually, and we're just going to keep going.
Perfect. So East Coasters, get ready for your opportunity.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah. And now, speaking of interactive experiences,
Yes.
World's Top Whiskey Taster, which a good friend of mine, well, he's a friend. I don't know if he likes me. I like him well enough. ADHD Whiskey won last year.
Heyo. Shout out to Matt Porter.
Yeah, big shout out to Matt. But that's coming up. There's
Yes.
another edition coming up. And I believe the opening is pretty soon.
Yes. So World's Top Whiskey Taster, if you haven't heard about it, is a completely unique competition, the first of its kind, where we're putting people's palates to the test, which is kind of intimidating because we all like to drink bourbon, but we're not all maybe ready to say I'm the best at tasting it, right? But it is a fun competition. Talk to Matt Porter, ADHD, about it. He'll tell you it was, a very momentous, experience for him in his life and his career that's taking off. Sure. But we're going to do it bigger and better this year. Last year was, a pandemic. When we launched it in February, we didn't know the pandemic was even going to happen. And it was kind of one of those things where it was like, do we pull out? Or do we just keep moving forward? And we kept moving forward because that's what we do. And very happy with the way it turned out. But this year is going to be 100 times bigger and better. So starting July 1st, we'll make an announcement on our social media that we are doing our call to entry. So instead of asking people to submit a video of themselves, which can be kind of daunting,
Sure.
It's going to be more of a little interview process. Where we have some pre-recorded questions, and then you can take as much time as you want to think of your answer, record yourself, and then submit that in, and then only we will vet that and decide 5 people to participate in 5 regional competitions. So we're going to be in Dallas, Texas for our Southwest Regional, Atlanta, Georgia for our Southern Regional,
Okay.
New York for our Northeast, Chicago for our Midwest, and LA for our West Coast regional. So those are the main competitions, and then the winners from those competitions will come to the distillery in December to compete for the big title. And the prizes are what's really kind of I'm asking individuals, if you're hesitant to submit or to enter, what have you got to lose? Because the prizes are pretty amazing, and the journey along the way is just going to be fun and memorable. And the prizes are going to be $20,000 in cash, a scholarship to Moonshine University to become an executive bourbon steward, which is how a lot of people start their careers. We're also going to throw a block party with our trailer. This is a new one. We're going to throw a block party for the winner with the trailer.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that.
Yes, right? To
Yeah.
celebrate you in your neighborhood as the winner. We're going to, blow it up and make it a ton of fun. So, it's an entirely cool process. And if you like tasting whiskey, like drinking whiskey, maybe know a thing or two and not sure if you're the best, you could become the best and you could win all those cool things.
And you'll have a proper title to prove it if anyone ever questions you.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, that isn't just bourbon whiskey, though. This is all whiskey,
all
correct?
whiskeys, yeah. So there's a lot of bourbon in there, of course, because we're in America and that's what we do. But there might be Scotches or Japanese or Irish.
Canadian?
Maybe Canadian. It's kind of
my
least favorite category.
It's like Canada, right? I don't know.
We love Canada. We're in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's like angry small Canada is what we are. We have a little rivalry there.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not well versed in this rivalry, but I'll take your word for it.
So, one more thing I want to ask about. Mm-hmm. Bottling line. You guys just opened up your own bottling plant down at Bardstown.
Yes.
And for some, the barrels are the romantic part. Mm-hmm. But why is it cool to have your own bottling line?
Well, because now we can celebrate the fact that we produce from grain to glass. And that's a really big thing for a spirits producer to be able to do. Everything done on the estate, right? So we're in control of the quality and the rate of production and all of those things. But what's really cool about Bardstown's bottling line is that we're going to offer this to our customers that we distill for as well. So it's just making that process of having a bourbon brand a little bit easier. Because instead of having to source your bourbon from here and age it here and bottle it here, we do it all at our site. So we make it really easy for smaller brands that, and some big brands too, that either don't distill or have us do supplemental production to just get it all from one place. See, it's kind of like grocery shopping. Like you don't want to go one place for your meat and then the next place for your produce and then the bakery for bread. Like that can turn into a very daunting task, right? So if you have a one-stop shop that's got quality from start to finish, just makes it that much easier. Yeah. So we did a ribbon cutting ceremony yesterday and invited a lot of press out and a lot of the community in Bardstown out, and it was a great time.
Oh, well, that is exciting. And you guys really are becoming like kind of a hub for a lot of people to make whiskey through. Because you're not just making your own, you've got a ton of mash bills that you're making whiskey for a lot of different companies.
Yes. So, we're very... we're about boosting the bourbon category. Obviously, we care a lot about our brand and what we're producing, but we're, allowing other brands to continue to grow or to start, and that's just making more bourbon selection for you guys that can't get enough. And it's a win-win-win, consumer, client, us, everybody walks away with, a better product. Yeah.
So most important question of the interview. This is a big one. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
Are we ever going to see a Bardstown rye?
Yes.
Oh yes. Okay. Awesome.
Maybe sooner than later. Without giving away too many spoilers, but 2023, the spring of 2023, is what we have been kind of saying from the get-go is going to be our first core brand release. And there's still a lot of TBD discussion about how and when and what will be first. But we're definitely going to have 3 core products. We're going to have 2 bourbons, and one is going to use a 36 rye, so a high rye recipe. Mm-hmm. One is going to be Steve Nally's curated wheated recipe, 20% wheat. And the third one's going to be a rye whiskey.
All right.
And if I can give you some insider info.
Yes. No, I would love that.
Sort of. So,
okay.
So right now we are open for tours and experiences, and albeit it's kind of crazy right now with the nature of the world and everybody trying to make up for lost time and and canceled vacations, you do have to plan ahead and make your reservations for tours pretty early. But there is an experience that we sell on at Bardstown Bourbon Company via our website called the Honey Spot. Have you heard of this?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so the Honey Spot is where we, instead of taking you through a run-of-the-mill tour, because a lot of people have done them several times and they know how bourbon works, right? We take you immediately straight into one of our rick houses where we have hand-selected 3 of our best tasting barrels with unique recipes in each, to kind of talk about the maturation process, the way we do so many different recipes, and just to taste 3 honey barrels, right? Some really exquisite single barrels. And one of those barrels, until it runs out, but it's pretty hard to, it lasts a long time with tiny samples from a 53-gallon barrel, is our rye recipe that will turn into our core product in 2023. And right now it's just about to turn 5 years old.
Oh,
so
boy.
You would be tasting it just a year shy of what it's going to go into the bottle tasting like. And it is delicious. And it's crazy that, it's crazy that we're coming this close because it's just all been happening so quickly. But if you want to get a taste before, sign up for that experience online. And tell me what you think about it when you get it.
I got to get my ass down to Bardstown is what I'm hearing.
You let me know. I'll show you around. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Sam, thank you so much.
Yes.
This has been awesome. Everyone, this has been Sam Montgomery, National Brand Manager for Bardstown. This is quickly becoming an excessively Bardstown-centric channel. We've already had interviews with some of your guys.
I love it.
And we keep doing reviews of your stuff.
I love it.
Before we sign off,
Yes.
would you like to do a shot of Malort with me, as is tradition on this channel?
I would love to do a shot of Malort
All
with you.
right, fantastic.
Why is this a tradition?
People started paying me on YouTube, like YouTube super chats,
Okay.
to drink Malort, and I suddenly got a taste for it. So
Me too. So cheers.
Cheers.
It's delightful.
All right. Well, and for those of you on the East Coast, keep an eye out for the Bardstown mobile experience in your area. And for those of you who are just watching this, why don't you like and comment? Throw a question for Sam. We'll see if we can't send along some questions for her. Maybe she'll be in the comments, hey? And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and the sign off is stay rotten. Would you like to say it?
Stay rotten, folks.
Cheers.